Resistance. It's 2495 on a planet called Pavonis. An evil overlord has risen to power. He claims to have all the answers to Pavonis' current problems, depression, with people religiously messed up. He's cruel. He starts killing anybody who gets in his way. People fight back. You fight back. Bang. Objective. Liberation. Quite simple. Yes. Is that the right hand? No, that. Players must use strategy on what they have at their disposal to liberate a whole planet. And sometimes what you have at their disposal is a brick and a stick between an entire platoon of freedom fighters. It can get that harsh. The Empire will fight back. These know what I like to call Far Cry 3 syndrome, where you take an enemy's base and they never try and take it back. It's like, oh no, we don't need it anymore. They will try and take their bases back. They love their bases. More than Team Fortress 2 players love their hats. Story ends when you kill the Legion, the evil overlord. Features. It's completely free roam. You only go into story missions when it's essential to the Resistance. Otherwise, you just conquer or liberate. Conquer if you're evil, I suppose. Go is going to be go. At the end of the day, freedom fighters. You're not going to politely shoot this guy who's been oppressing you in the head. You're going to tear him to pieces because you're angry. Control of the Resistance is yours. You're on the Resistance Council. You choose how it works. Customization. The character is fully customizable. You get 4 races to choose from. You can choose the race as in Caucasian, African American, Asian. And also what regions they come from, but I'll be going into that later. We've got achievements. Here are some of my favourite achievements. We've got blow the bloody doors off, rob an Imperial bank. We've got for close encounters, use a shotgun for the whole game. And my eyes are up here, complete a romance subquest. It's got an in-depth storyline. I'm hoping to create characters that you will remember and love, like Mario, Sonic, Zelda, Link. Suave mode, I'll go into that later, but it's awesome. Strategy element, you're going to be commanding armies to take over cities. It's not like Assassin's Creed, you're not going to liberate and free a whole city on your own, because it's damn near impossible. Strategy element is, it starts off a bit like the new XCOM game, where you just command one squad of soldiers, you zoom out whenever you need to, tell your soldiers where to go. Then it'll end up something like Ruse, when you zoom out, you've got a whole army at your disposal. Romance subplots. Narrative. In the year 2055, humanity mastered space travel, went to space, planned to take everything. The first planet that they took from another species, they named it Pavonis, the planet of hope, and they also made it Fortress World. It was the last line of defence before the jump gate to Earth. Later on, 2108, humans own 3 of the 5 galactic arms. Earth is a myth. Humans start forgetting things, but Pavonis is still strong. 2140, humanity has conquered 80% of the galaxy, but they're in a bad depression. They're losing planets, they're losing jump gates, planets are vanishing. They've basically moved into the second Dark Age, and Pavonis receives its last transmission from Earth. And we've got 2269, you're born. 2280, Pavonis is alone in a murky void. A madman has risen to power, the Regan, who claims to know the location of the Ark ship that took the first settlers to Pavonis. And he also claims to know where the jump gate to Earth is. He says he's going to take everybody back to Earth. And he declares war on anybody that resists the Pavonian Council. 2 years later, he kills the Pavonian Council and crowns himself Emperor. 2284, Teal's family, your family, is killed by an Imperial officer's goons after his sister refuses to have sex with him. Teal is left alive for punishment of being able to kill one of the Imperial soldiers. A year later, Teal is arrested for killing an Imperial officer, Tiki, revenge. And the Regent has almost conquered Pavonis. Teal is tortured and imprisoned. While he's being tortured, he suffers several blows to the head and forgets most of his past. Teal is thrown in prison, and he meets someone called Atellus Cain. Teal and Atellus joke about fighting back whilst in prison. They both get chosen as Imperial gladiators, chosen to fight each other because the Regent knows they're friends. But then they formulate a plan to escape from prison. Another year later, the Resistance is founded, and you lead the first attack and take back a small village, which is where you start off. Customization. We take on the role of the man or woman or dwarf Teal in the game. Teal is a Resistance fighter and can be any of the following. It can be a human, a cyborg, a psychic, or a dwarf. Humans are the oldest faction. It's riddled with conflict. Pavonis is no stranger to violence. Humans have the ability to change their base stats, which are strength, intelligence, perception, and stealth. And they have higher morale than any other race. Cyborgs are humans who have had extensive cybernetic implantation. Cyborgs are the slowest race and have the ability to use heavy weapons without the assistance of a mount or tripod. They're also not affected from any form of knockback effects apart from a tank or a heavy explosive. They can shrug off bullets. Psychics are the most discriminated race. You won't be able to persuade easily if you're a psychic. Humans affected by a disease dubbed psychis, which slows the aging process. So psychics live probably twice as long as a human. And it also stops any and all hair growth. They don't have any facial hair, they don't have any eyebrows, they don't have any hair. So to make up for it, they put tattoos across their scalp and stuff. And it also grants them psychic powers. However, psychics rarely have time to enjoy their longevity, as they will eventually go insane as a result of overthinking themselves. And dwarves, lovely. Dwarves are humans who moved to Pavonis during its glory days, but the dwarves were one of the first human mutants. They settled on a planet with high gravity. A few generations later, they were smaller, but a bit stronger. They are the slowest class. No, wait. The cyborgs are the slowest class. These guys are quite slow. Dwarves can see in the dark, they find rarer items easier and more often, and they can operate machinery better. You can choose which region you come from, which grants a bonus. The mainlands, basically your cities, big hive cities. You find more money and resources and ammo on dead enemies in crates. It also affects your clothes. You must have no enough clothes. If you're from the Badlands, a big desert, you'll be more wise but secluded. You won't have much charisma, but you'll be very intelligent. You'll not have to rest and drink as often while in the desert. If you're from the north, basically North Pole, you'll be stronger and more charismatic, resistant to the north freezing climate. If you're from Perun, a big jungle, you'll be better at guerrilla fighter and be able to climb any rough surface. All dwarves are from the city in the mountains and can regenerate health quicker. Characters. You've got Teal, you. Little quote from Teal. You've already heard Teal's story, but you are the main driving force of the Resistance. When people hear the word Resistance, they don't think of Atellus or any of the other guys, they think of Teal. You've got Atellus Cain. Little quote from Atellus. Atellus was tortured and went slightly insane because he was part of the Imperial army and he was forced to attack and kill his own family, so that sent him a bit insane. Then he killed everybody in his unit, going to be more insane, tortured, more insane. He's your closest friend. He's a fighter. He doesn't like being left out. He's also a follower. You can get him to follow you, and there's a romance option. Jonah, Crack Devi. His nickname is Crack because he uses big weapons. He doesn't like being called a thing because he's the strongest cyborg in Pavonis. Basically, he was the son of a crime lord. His dad set him up, almost killed him. gave him cybernetic implants to save him, planned to turn him into the ultimate mafia. But he used the link while he was brainwashing him to go back into his father's computers, found out about the plot, and killed everybody. And we've got Mercia Cyrene. That's her being a bit because she thinks she's more intelligent than everybody. She is psychic. She does not like the Empire, but neither does she like the Resistance. But she thinks the Resistance is the lesser of two evils. She was the first psychic, and she's also the strongest. She's 150 years old, and she started a psychic convent for all psychics to go to and just live out their lives in peace without discrimination. The Empire attacked it, which is quite bad. It got her angry. And you've got King Snorri Grimble. That's the classic example of the fun you will have with the ever-drunk, ever-grumpy King of the Dwarves. He's always drunk, he's always grumpy, he hates the Empire because they attacked his mountain. He loved his mountain. So he moves to the Resistance, asks them for help. They said, we'll help as long as dwarves fight in our army. He said, fine. Hannah Osler. She's a bit daft. Daughter of an Imperial officer, runs away because she doesn't like the Empire, goes under the protection of the Resistance. Later on she shows that she can be very stealthy and manipulative, so they make her an assassin. Pronounce that.
Ezekiel got it.
Izakel. Or Ezcal. Ezcal, that's it. Yeah, he is a mutant, and that's the example of fun you can have with him. At that quote, Atellus tells him he's been shot. Because Atellus doesn't know that Gavin can't feel pain. He was in a freak accident, all his nerves were destroyed, he can't feel pain. So he's the ultimate Resistance fighter. Suave mode. Basically, Suave mode, when you kill enemies, or gain XP, or save a damsel in distress, something like that, you gain Suave. When you activate Suave mode, that is what makes you a Resistance fighter. You don't have advanced technology, you don't have big armour, you don't have advanced technology. You have plain and simple luck. It's like crossing Han Solo with Indiana Jones and Captain Jack Sparrow. Did anybody see me do that? Because I'm not doing it again. Say if you're being chased by Imperial troopers and you need to jump off a 50-storey building. Jump off it normally, you die. Jump off it and activate Suave mode and something will happen that saves you. It might be a fire escape, it might be a hover car flying past that you grab onto and hold on. It can be used during combat to pull off wicked moves, like ricocheting a bullet off walls to kill an entire squad, stuff like that. So research. Similar games, Skyrim got an 8 out of 10 from GameStop. Ruse also scored 8 out of 10 from GameStop. Makes me think my game will do quite well because it's based on, well not based on, but it's like those games. Has anybody got any questions? Okay.
Well done. You finished?
Yes.